Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One. My name is Priyanka Sharma. We begin this broadcast with a news alert coming in that the Pakistan National Assembly session, which was scheduled to begin half an hour ago, is yet to reconvene. Once again, we have no details about the delay. It was set to resume at 12:30 p.m. local time in Pakistan, but it hasn't started yet. Let's tell you about what happened earlier in the day. Now, as we understand, tall claims were made about a foreign conspiracy at play to topple the Imran Khan-led government. Strong statements coming in from Shah Mahmood Qureshi, who clearly said that he demands a probe into this foreign conspiracy, some foreign interference. There were also words used like foreign cable. The reason behind toppling Imran Khan, that is what the PTI government is claiming. There is no evidence whatsoever of these claims. But as of now, the Imran Khan government is using the narrative that there is a foreign conspiracy, involvement from the West, mostly the United States, to topple his government. This was also stated by the Pak Prime Minister Imran Khan last night in an impassioned speech where he clearly said that the West, the US, knew about the no-confidence motion even before it was set to take place. He claimed that there is a foreign hand at play. However, he provided no evidence whatsoever to back his claims, and that, of course, remains a big question of this hour. As a no-trust vote is set to be tabled, where is the evidence for this so-called foreign conspiracy? Now, to answer some of these questions, we are now being joined by journalist and strategic affairs expert Dr Hamid Khan from Manchester. Dr Khan, thanks so much for joining us. My first question to you is the same that we've been asking on WION since the session got underway. The Imran Khan government is saying that there is a foreign conspiracy to topple his government. This claim is being made without any evidence. The foreign cable has been mentioned, but where is the evidence?
Thank you very much, Priyanka. I mean, we can't say that this claim is without any evidence. The government is quite confident that they do have enough evidence to prove it, whether it is in shape of that cipher, which is a diplomatic cable, or whether they have the information of some of opposition leaders were having a meeting with American diplomats much prior to presenting this no confidence motion, and then some of their rebel members were meeting with the American diplomats as well. So as far as the government is concerned, they are very confident that they do have enough evidence to support their claim that there is a conspiracy, especially America is behind it, to topple Imran Khan's government, because Imran Khan decided to go Russia mainly, and he decided not to be the party in the Russia and Ukraine conflict. And there was some reservations from America during the Afghan, exit of Americans as well.
So, but Dr. Khan, just interjecting right there, just clarifying for your viewers, these claims of a foreign hand at play have been rubbished by the West, primarily the US earlier, including the opposition in Pakistan. So how is one to believe that there is in fact any kind of foreign controversy, any kind of foreign conspiracy, and what lies ahead for Imran Khan?
That's right. I mean, obviously, American State Department have refused it, opposition have refused it, but it was quite obvious. But on the other hand, I mean, if that is where the probe comes in, that is where the question comes for an independent judicial inquiry or a commission. So I believe that this matter will go into some kind of inquiry. And yes, there is very uncertainty in Imran Khan's future. And as I said in previous days as well, that there will be some delays in this vote of no confidence motion, because still the Speaker has all the powers under the Constitution of Article 69, although Supreme Court have given a clear verdict that everything is restored from the 3rd of April, and Speaker has to keep the proceedings complete towards the vote of no confidence. But still jurisdiction and the discretion of the Speaker cannot be challenged. So let's see how it moves on.
Right, Dr. Khan, as we understand, we've been reporting on this all morning, all day. In fact, the session was set to reconvene about half an hour ago. It was adjourned earlier. Why the delay in your assessment? What's going on in Pakistan governance as we speak?
Yeah, there are delays for two reasons. I can tell you, I'm rightly in touch with everything. One, one of the main opposition leader, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, went into the chamber of Speaker and met him during that break, and that meeting got prolonged for extra about 10 to 15 minutes. And he wanted to convince Speaker to carry on with the vote of no confidence rather than going into other matters. And at the same time, at 1:30, it is the break for the Zohar prayer. So again, there is another 35 minutes delay for the praying time. And that's why it has been delayed for another extra hour, which was supposed to be resumed at 12:30. But it looks like that still there is enough, I should say, that speeches and other things are going to be done by the government benches. And then the opposition has to respond as well. So I believe that it is highly unlikely that there would be voting proceedings today. It will go into next week, and this is what government is trying to gain maximum time to frustrate the opposition and to be able to gain some votes back from the opposition benches who have left the government in last few days.
Right. Dr. Khan, stay with us on this broadcast. We'll just like to inform our viewers of WION of a news alert coming in. The President of Pakistan People's Party, Asif Ali Zardari, met with the opposition leader, Shehbaz Sharif, who is touted to be the one who will essentially replace Prime Minister Imran Khan. This meeting comes as we continue to wait for the Pakistan National Assembly to reconvene. Once again, I repeat this for our viewers who are joining us on WION. A World is One at this hour. We continue to report on the political turmoil underway in Pakistan at this hour. The session was slated to reconvene. It's now been delayed. And now the recent update we have is that the president of the Pakistan People's Party, Asif Ali Zardari, met with the opposition leader, Shehbaz Sharif, who is touted to be the next Pakistan Prime Minister as of now. Going back to our guest now, Dr. Hamid Khan. Dr. Khan, thanks so much for being patient and staying on. I want to ask you the same question that everybody wants to know. Assuming the session reconvenes shortly from now, you are saying that the voting is not likely to happen this week. These are delaying tactics that are now underway. So what are the options facing Imran Khan as of now? Can he hold on to his seat?
Very kind. Moment. And, yes, he has few options still, although it is there are very slightly chances of it. One, he may be able to get some of the opposition members back to his in his support, and some of his allies may join him back who have left him in few days ago and joined the opposition. On the other hand, if this question or this debate of conspiracy letter goes on further, and if there is any conflict or anything happens and some speaker has to give some other ruling prior to going for the voting, it can delay the whole procedure. And I'm just trying to explain that if opposition gets frustrated, and if some of the opposition members feel that it is not going to be concluded, and they come and they just rejoin the government, some of their members who have left the government, it will change the entire scenario, because the difference between government and the opposition is not very much. It's only about 5 to 10 votes. If you look into it, at the moment, they have 175 members from opposition in this National Assembly, while the magic figure is 172. So it's only the swing of 5 to 10 votes, and the entire scene could be changed. On the other hand, Prime Minister Imran Khan is trying to get the maximum public support so that he can have influence of public and pressure of the public to those who have left him and who won the election on the tickets of PTI. So this will be a public pressure and morality. Imran Khan is trying to bring the morality here. And let me tell you one last thing, Priyanka, that this Imran Khan has built one narrative that nation has to choose whether they want to support the narrative of absolutely not and for the independent foreign policy, or whether they want to support the narrative of Shehbaz Sharif, where he said that beggars can't be choosers, and he said that we are on a ventilator because of the our foreign debts and everything.
Right. Dr. Khan, I just want to take a follow-up to that since you mentioned that very interesting point. This is something that, as you rightfully mentioned, was mentioned by the Prime Minister himself, Imran Khan, last night in a very impassioned speech. He clearly said that the youth of Pakistan needs to choose between an independent country, an independent foreign policy, or choose the opposition or a so-called imported government, as he put it. But he also tried to rile up the youth, asking them to take to the streets, because of which security has now been beefed up in Islamabad. Do you at all at this point fear any kind of agitation on the streets?
Yes, there was another question yesterday from another channel. I said that Imran Khan is always being a believer of the public agitation, but peacefully. He is the one who has been doing this political exercise and political movement for over 26 years on his own. And he always believed that the movement, agitation should be peaceful. There should not be any violence. He believed in street power without violence. But you're right. There are very much chances when the public is on the streets, when their emotions are very high, anything could happen. So that must have, been watched by the security agencies and our law and order, law enforcement institutions as well. They have to look into that matter. But as a Prime Minister, he has to be very responsible for it, not to provoke anyone for violence or anything, which he has been doing it so far, not provoking anybody for violence. He's just saying to the youth that let's be together for the independent foreign policy and independent future for the Pakistan, which was the basis of the Pakistan creation.
Right. Dr. Khan, just a final question there, and I would request you to be frank on this one. Is the Pak Prime Minister Imran Khan likely to be the first to be removed through a no-trust vote? Is it game over for Captain Khan?
To be honest, I said no. The only reason I'm saying is because I know there are many options still left with the government, and Imran Khan would try to his last ball. If Imran Khan would be convinced that his game is over, he would have given the resignation. The reason he's not giving the resignation, it's not about that he's been stubborn. Rather, he believes that he has plenty of trump cards to use, and he has some options where he can exercise and he can remain in power. That's what is the fear of the opposition as well, that they have this fear that Imran Khan may find out some way to remain in power and go for the fresh election, which will definitely benefit Imran Khan, because at the moment public sentiment and public support has been increased with Imran Khan, and people are accepting his narrative, Priyanka.
Right, absolutely. Dr. Khan, thank you so much for all those perspectives and insights, and thanks for joining us on WION World is One.
Thank you.
Today will go down as a historic day in Pakistan's political history. As we wait to see what will the National Assembly decide, Pakistan's Prime Minister made a last-ditch effort to turn the tide in his favour. Imran Khan addressed the nation last night. He looked completely defiant as he reluctantly accepted the Supreme Court's decision. Listen in.
जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला आया, मायूसी हुई मुझे, लेकिन मैं ये वाज़े कर दूं कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट और पाकिस्तान की अदलिया की मैं इज़्ज़त करता हूं। मैंने एक ही दफ़ा जेल गुजारी है, और वो आज़ाद अदलिया की तहरीक के अंदर।
In the past few weeks of political turmoil, Imran Khan's party members have left his side, but what has probably kept him together are his supporters. Hundreds and thousands have gathered on one call. So the Prime Minister used a national address to call on his people to hold protests.
लेकिन मैं अपनी कौम को भी कहता हूं कि अगर आप इस तरह की चीज़ कि एक बाहर से साजिश हो के गवर्नमेंट गिर रही है और वो प्लान करके पूरा एक प्लॉट है जिसके ऊपर मैं अभी बाद में बताता हूं, तो ये आपने अपने आप को बचाना है। जो अपने बच्चों का मुस्तकबिल बचाना चाहता है इस मुल्क में, आप अगर इसके खिलाफ नहीं खड़े होंगे, किसी ने और आके आपको नहीं बचाना। अगर ये डेमोक्रेट्स हैं और इनको वाकई जमहूरियत की फिक्र है, तो इलेक्शन अनाउंस करें। आप कह रहे हैं ना कि अब आप बड़े पॉपुलर हैं, तो आए इलेक्शन अनाउंस करें, मैदान में आ जाए, देखें पब्लिक इसको वोट देती है।
In his speech, he said that the people of Pakistan have to protect themselves against the so-called imported government. This is a direct dig at the Pakistan Muslim League and that is the Muslim League Nawaz, which is currently headed by Shehbaz Sharif. There was a recurring mention of the conspiracy letter. Imran Khan has alleged that a foreign power is colluding with the opposition to oust him. So the Prime Minister slammed the Supreme Court for not taking his claims cautiously. Meanwhile, many are questioning the Pakistani military's silence over this conspiracy. Remember, in the past, the military in Pakistan has always played a crucial role alongside the government. But if the conspiracy peddled by Imran Khan is true, then it is a threat to Pakistan's national security. So why is the military being a mute spectator? Imran Khan has hinted earlier that it is Washington, D.C. that is interfering in Pakistan's personal matters. The State Department of the United States was quick to react. She said, and I quote, "Let me just say very bluntly, there is absolutely no truth to these allegations. Of course, we continue to follow these developments and we respect and support Pakistan's constitutional process and rule of law. But again, these allegations are absolutely not true." Now, it seems like the more uncertain Khan's political and future gets, the more desperate he becomes. And desperate times, of course, calls for desperate measures, which is why he cannot stop praising India. Hours before the no-confidence vote, the Pakistan Prime Minister lauded India's decision-making. He said that New Delhi should be proud because no superpower can dictate terms to them. As the debate rages on in Pakistan's parliament, the opposition in Pakistan has already named a successor, Shehbaz Sharif. He's the brother of former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and the current leader of Pakistan's opposition. Bilawal Bhutto says that Shehbaz Sharif will soon be Pakistan's Wazir-e-Azam, that is the Prime Minister. As the tussle over the Prime Minister's seat continues, here's now a report on all you need to know about Shehbaz Sharif. Meet Shehbaz Sharif, the man who could replace Imran Khan to become Pakistan's next Prime Minister. The opposition has already thrown its weight behind him.
शहबाज शरीफ साहब जो जल्द ही इंशाअल्लाह ताला मुल्क का वज़ीर-ए-आज़म मुंतखब होगा.
Born in 1951, Shehbaz Sharif is the brother of Nawaz Sharif, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan. For much of his life, he was a businessman by profession. He ran the family-owned Ittifaq Group, a steel company which operated as Nawaz Sharif's corruption foundry. In 1988, he left the family business to join politics. He got elected to the Provincial Assembly of Punjab, the most politically important province of Pakistan. By 1997, he had become the chief minister of this province, a position he got elected to twice, once in 2008 and then again in 2013. This made him the longest-serving chief minister of the province, also the most corrupt, according to his critics. Here's why. In 1998, a year after he came to power, Shehbaz Sharif allegedly ordered the killing of 5 religious students, an allegation he has always refuted. Sharif was also named in the Panama Papers. At least 8 offshore companies were apparently linked to his name. That's not all. In 2019, the National Accountability Bureau of Pakistan seized 23 properties of Shehbaz Sharif and his son. They both were indicted on money laundering charges. Charges which the Sharif family has called politically motivated. Shehbaz Sharif is the leader of Pakistan's opposition. His party controls 84 seats, the most among opposition parties, which is why they've named him for the country's top office. The question is he fit for the job? Shehbaz Sharif is corrupt like any other Pakistani politician, but is also seen as an efficient administrator, someone who delivers on his promises in record time. But the thing that bodes in his favor the most is his relationship with the Pakistan Army. It's less prickly than his brothers. He also has good foreign ties, particularly with China and Turkey, thanks to the many foreign trips he has accompanied his brother on. What about his views on India? They're more or less the same as others, but as the Chief Minister of Punjab, a province located right on India's border, he has often pushed for peace between the two countries. Given the Pakistan Army's control on civilian leadership, there's every reason to believe that if Shehbaz Sharif comes to power, he too will toe Rawalpindi's line. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.